Right then, Gooners, stop everything, because what was just said about Arsenal is going to split this fan base in half. Some are calling it a warning sign. Others are saying it's exactly why we're winning. One player, one performance, two completely different narratives. So before the hot takes take over social media, let's break down what the specialists actually said, and I'll give you the real fan perspective that a lot of people are missing. Trust me, and you're going to want to see this. Let's get into it.
Okay, well, talking of praise, what about Viktor Gyokeres, a goal and an assist?
Phenomenal.
He has had his critics.
Yes.
This must at least help get them off his back.
Yeah, look, strikers, it's one of the toughest jobs in the team, and you're judged on goals. And he was a big money signing. We know how well he did when he was playing for Coventry at a lower level, and he's obviously gone off and made his name then again.
Sporting was brilliant.
Yeah, Sporting in Portugal. He's a good player. They could be a terrific player. And I think the biggest advantage for Arsenal is the amount of attention he gets. And it leaves that space for your Sakas of the world to run into. Arsenal aren't driven by, and we've always said this, they need to have a Golden Boot winner. They need someone with 30, 40 goals. Well, the top of the league, they were phenomenal last night. They look unbeatable. They've got a superb defence, and they haven't got a prolific striker yet, and it's not stopping them. So I think he's grown into the role. He's got 8 goals. It's not prolific, but I think you asked me the question, is he kind of a hit or a bust? He's like that on the way up. There is a player in there, and I think he's a confidence player. And you'd like to think, late in the season, tired defences, I think he'll score a lot of goals.
Well, he definitely is doing things to help the team, all right?
100%.
We've got a graphic we can show you here. I'll have to explain it, all right, because it is quite difficult to word this graphic, OK? But what that means there, in simple English, is that he is the most tightly marked player in the Premier League this season. That's probably the best way I can put it, all right? So if he's doing that and Arsenal are winning every game, surely he is doing his job. And the way he set up Zubamendi, you can see how tightly marked he was, and he's still...
Technically, great pass, the space. When you get players like that in your team, yes, you love a striker who scores 20, 30, 40 goals. But at the end of the day, if he's taking that attention away, and Arsenal have got so much, attacking, goals in so many other areas, that's good for the team, it's good for business. It's why they are where they are. So, but in time you will see, and I said to you, February, March onwards, and people get tired and they've played a lot of games, I guarantee you he'll probably have a goal rush.
OK, well, I have been defending him a lot this season, so I was quite glad to see him do so well last night. I do hope for his sake that
do you know the biggest problem is? It's always about the value. If he was signed for 10 million quid, he'd be up there as like one of the signings of the season. He's got 8 goals, he's playing this role, he's like an unsung hero. The fact that you throw us at 50, 60, 70 million behind, it's a bit like Isak. Obviously, he's injuries, he's got 2 goals, he was the biggest signing in the summer. Straight away, if he doesn't win the Golden Boot, doesn't get 35 goals, he's going to be a bust. It's not always about that, is it? So, if they end up winning the double, title, Champions League, whatever else, and he ends up with 11, 12 goals, 6 assists, is anyone going to remember?
I think Arsenal fans will be happy with the title, certainly.
100%.
Here's a debate that's been going on for a long time when it comes to strikers.
Sure.
At the moment, most clubs, especially Arsenal included, will have a left footer on the right, a right footer on the left. Okay. How much does that impact a striker? Because if you've got a left foot on the left and a right foot on the right, you look up, you straight away, you get the ball to the striker as quickly as you can. Cutting in onto your
the
stronger
inversions
foot,
and everything
you can go
else.
Yourself, you can lay it off.
Yeah, there has to be a lot more. There has to be a lot more patience for your number 9 when you're playing with strikers coming in all of the time instead of going out wide and putting the ball into the box. It really is down to style of play. It's also about, are you a possession-based team? Are you playing low-block teams? What kind of strike you are, your movements? Look, we can also argue the best in the world, the Ronaldos, the Messis, never had a problem scoring a goal a game. But you could also judge, well, they didn't play in the Premier League all the time. Ronaldo did through periods of his career. We have to give credit to people like Mo Salah, who's not a traditional number 9, and you look at his data and his record, and whilst he not always play the best player, he's always getting goals, he's always getting assists. It does come down to styles and formations, and that's why you see it. I still think an Eddie Howe way of playing is different to an Arteta way of playing. And I think the big fella they've got at Newcastle they bought will end up scoring a lot of goals based on the style of how Eddie Howe plays.
And they do tend to play a right foot on the right-hand side, in fairness.
Correct.
In depth on Chelsea at 11 o'clock, but just a quick one on Liam Rossini, first home game in charge. Do you see positive signs or reality check?
No, positive signs. It's probably a bit of both. He's a big boy. He realised that, it's not going to be all perfect. He's not going to win every game and smash teams to bits. What he would have liked is the response from his team at going 2-0 down. You're playing the best team probably in England at the moment, and you're under pressure, and it's your first home game per se in a big event like the League Cup, and they could have been out of it. But they go now to the Emirates where they're only out of it by 1 goal. Chelsea's a good team. Under him, they're going to be a very good team. I like the style. I like the way they played. I like some of the younger players. And, that was a baptism of fire for him, as well as his first Premier League game being his first Champions League game being. But as an advert for the product, it was a great game to watch last night. It was end to end. You could probably be a bit critical about goalkeepers, but the rest of the football was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a brilliant game. Sky Sports are partnered with Finalysis to discover true fan opinion. To have your say on your club, download the Finalysis app, scan the QR code there for more details. Let's speak to Arsenal fan Toby Parks now. Good morning, Toby. First of all, let's start with Gyökeres. What did you think of his performance and what have you made of his season so far?
Morning, Tom. Morning, Dara. Yeah, good question. I mean, his physicality has always been his strength. We know that he's not a touch-tight Ekatike or someone like that that's going to be able to dribble around a player or anything like that. But being a bulldozer, being a physical player and dragging away players is something that really is his strength. What I would say is I think over the past few months, past couple of months since his injury, I think that's been weaning a little bit. And I do think that, I actually feel like a bit of a fool. I made a call on our weekly podcast that I think he should start getting confidence from the bench, coming off the bench now that Jesus and Havertz are back, but actually giving him that week off and him not playing against Portsmouth, his physicality was there in abundance last night, and he looked every bit the player I think we thought he could. There's still a few things obviously he could improve, and it's going to be about consistency. And what I would say is I think he's always worked really hard, and there's no fan that's upset with his work ethic or anything like that. I think there's a bit of a quality drop there in some scenarios that we know is there. It's just how we can get it out of him. So I felt a bit sorry for him. I think when he scored a goal, he almost looked a little bit shy going to fans to celebrate. You can see the other fans really try and make him part of the group and pushing him over like you're seeing on the screen now, actually. So I just hope he can really be part of that group and kick on.
It was nice to see him score. He also got an assist as well for Martin Zubimendi. This season, quite often on this show, we've asked who is the signing of the season. Can you make a case for Martin Zubimendi?
Definitely. There's so much great about him that I didn't expect. He's one of those players that, you get excited over the summer and you look on YouTube or whatever, and I think you don't quite know what you're going to get, and it's not really a highlight reel kind of player. When you sign these, deep sixes, deep playmakers from Spain, you expect a relatively fragile, very good with their feet, quick kind of feet player that's just going to pass the ball from left to right. And what's really surprised me is just how strong and almost front-footed he is in every scenario. And now that he's adding attacking elements to his game, the way he passes very quickly. We have players that can slow down the game when we need to slow down the tempo, and we have players that can speed it up. And Zubimendi is one of those that can do both. The way he can put balls over the top. I think there was a finish, I can't remember, it was one of the best goals of the season, the volley from outside the box off the corner. I think it was against Forest. I can't remember, but he's adding so much to his game. And last night, he was just electric, and off his left foot in so many different scenarios too. It's going both ways, which is something that, again, I just did not expect from him, and I always get surprised every game.
I'm shocked at how well he settled, how quickly he settled in the Premier League, because usually there's maybe a 3 or 4 month bedding in period and they're in and out and whatever else, but he is truly world class now. I mean, what he's come in and done in the first kind of half of the season. And you look at now Declan Rice and, freeing up players to be able to do more. And like you just said there, he's not just your traditional 6. He can pop up with a goal. He can pop up with that creativity when it's needed. And, I am amazed how quickly he's adjusted to it all. Superb signing.
Yeah, he's been very well. Arsenal's transfer business has been praised a lot over the last few transfer windows. One of those who came in the summer was Kepa. What did you think of the decision to keep him in goal for this cup?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? We've got to find minutes for him somewhere. He was Bournemouth player of the season last season. Ultimately, still technically the most expensive goalkeeper ever to have been signed, I think. So, look, yeah, he was a little bit rusty, I think, against Portsmouth. He got better into the game. And look, he saved quite a few great shots from Esteval last night. So as a shot stopper, he seems like he's getting there. What I would say is that difference between coming for crosses between him and David Raya is them worlds apart. And look, I'd still give him the game at the Emirates. We're a goal up, and ultimately this is a team that we should really be beating at home, given that we've got.
Okay, what happens in the final? If you win the final, do you want to see Raya or Kepa?
I'd like to see Raya, particularly against City and with Haaland coming in. I feel a bit bad saying that, but ultimately I think it's a one-off game. I think he's had his chances and played in quite a few different games now. He's a £5 million keeper that we signed, a great guy to have around. I think we've given him every chance, and I just think David Raya in a final at Wembley, I think that comfort, particularly if you're playing against what I imagine will be City, or even a very, very, very physical Newcastle, I would like to see that personally.
What would you do, Darryl? What have you done in the EFL Trophy in the past?
Yeah, mixed and matched, but when it came to the final, the manager played on number 1. But Liverpool, interestingly enough, I think played, Kevin Kelleher, in recent League Cup finals.
Yes.
I think Alisson didn't come in, particularly when we beat Chelsea a few years ago. It was Kelleher in the penalty shootout and stuff like that. So, that's down to Arsenal, the thirst for winning that trophy. I would get where you go with Raya. I'm not.
And I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, carry on.
I think. With Liverpool in particular, I think what they were in that scenario, they were picking up a lot of trophies at the time as well. And I think, to be honest, Kelleher is sensational as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And I think you can probably trust him in those scenarios.
Yeah.
Again, I do like Kepa.
No, I get it. I get the apprehension. I get it. The big occasions.
Particularly when you haven't won anything in a few years.
Yeah.
I think it's important to try and get over that line at your best at that point if you're in a final.
Yeah, and don't forget, if your manager wants to sub him, he'll refuse to come off, right?
Well, I remember when that happened.
Absolutely.
I remember when that was Sarri. Was it Sarri at the time?
Yeah,
Sarri,
that's right. Yeah.
Here's a final question, Toby, and this is one that might get you back up a bit. The most threatening winger on the pitch yesterday, was it Estevao?
Yeah, definitely. I think he looked electric. He in a couple of years he's going to be something else because it looks like he can finish. A little bit of a temperament, which you can expect coming to a new league when you're 18, but he looks something else, to be completely honest. And the way he was ripping past a few of our defenders, he's an exciting player. A bit untidy at points, but ultimately getting unbelievable shots away. He's kind of all over the place in lots of different ways. Perhaps could learn quite a number of different things, but some signing. Quite jealous.
We were speaking all fair before, and we were talking. I said 18. Can you imagine him at 22? This is world classness developing right in front of our very eyes. When you see a player, fair play to Chelsea, the recruitment team. Where they've plucked him. He just looks like he's going to go bang, 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 bang. He could be as good as anybody when I see him. With all due respect to the current wingers. And as a Liverpool fan, I'm like, when Salah leaves, give Chelsea 120 million for that kid. I'm telling you now, you could have your wings sorted for the next 10, 12 years.
Yeah. I mean, they like selling players, so you'd be fine with that, I imagine.
Well, don't forget they win trophies as well, so.
Come back to me in a year. We'll see what happens.
All right, okay.
Right then, Gooners, and let's talk about what was just said, why properly as fans. Listening to that debate, I actually think this is where a lot of people outside Arsenal are still missing the point about Viktor Gyokeres. Is he banging in 30 goals? No. Is he Erling Haaland? No. But is he doing a huge job for this team right now? Absolutely. What stood out for me is this. He's the most tightly marked striker in the Premier League. He pulls defenders all over the place, and that's exactly why players like Saka, Odegaard and Martinelli keep finding space. That's not accidental. That's system football. As a fan, I'm actually tired of hearing the same lazy argument. Big fee equals must win the Golden Boot, or he's a flop. Football doesn't work like that, especially Arteta ball. This Arsenal side isn't built around one superstar striker. It's built around control, structure, pressure and shared responsibility. And let's be honest, top of the league, best defence, winning games while not even hitting full attacking flow yet. That should excite us, not worry us. Do I think Gyökeres still has another level? Yes. Do I think confidence is the key with him? 100%. And when legs start getting heavy in February and March, I genuinely believe he'll go on a run. But here's the real takeaway as a supporter. If we end this season lifting silverware, nobody will care how many goals he scored. Now let me throw it back to you. What's your honest take on Gyökeres right now? Underrated system player or still something to prove? And while you're at it, who was your standout performer on the night? Drop it in the comments.